Now, entertain conjecture of a time when creepy murmur in the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through the paly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the dull night's ears. And from their tents, the armorers, accomplishing the nights with busy hammers closing rivets up, give a dreadful note for preparation. The country cocks do crow. The clocks do toll. In the third hour of drowsy morning May. Proud of their numbers, secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low-rated English play dice. And chides the crippled, tidy-gated night, who, like a foul and ugly witch, doth limp so tediously away. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gestures sad, investing lank lean cheeks in warm coats, presenteth unto the gazing moon so many horrid ghosts.
What a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here but in a fiction, a dream of passion could force his soul so to his own conceit, that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice in his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him? Or he to Hecuba that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage of tears and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddied metal rascal, peak like John a dreams, unpregnant for my cause, and can say, Nothing. No. Not for a king upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tricks me by the nose, gives me the lie in the throat. Who does me this? Swoons I should take it for, it cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region's kites with the slaves awful. Bloody body villain. Oh, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain.
I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet, herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mist of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the world were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So when this loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am? By so much shall I falsify men's hopes, and like a bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation glittering o'er my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. Also offend, to make offense a skill. Redeeming time when men think least I will.
I think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Yet he talks well, but what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth. Not very pretty, but sure he's proud. And yet, his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him's his complexion. And, faster than his tongue did make offense, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so-so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper, and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference betwixt the constant red and the mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet, I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel that I answered not again. but that's all one. Omittance is no quittance. I shall write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
My husband lives. That Tybalt would have slain. And Tybalt's dead, that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Where were we by then? Some word there was. Worser than Tybalt's death that hath murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses to my memory like damned guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead. And Romeo. Banished. That one word, banished, hath killed 10,000 Tybalts. Tybalt's death was woe enough if it had ended there. Why not followed when she said, Tybalt is dead, thy father, or thy mother, nay, or both, which modern lamentations might have moved? Romeo is banished. To speak that word. His mother, father, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound in that word's death.
By heaven, these scroils of Angiers flout you kings, and stand securely in their battlements as in a theater, whence they gape and point at your industrious scenes and acts of death. Your royal presences be ruled by me. Do like the mutants of Jerusalem. Be friends a while, and both can jointly bend your sharpest deeds of malice on this town. By east and west, let France and England mount their battering cannon charged to the mouths, till their soul-fearing clamors have brawled down the flinty ribs of this contemptuous city. I'd play incessantly upon these jades, even till unfenced desolation leave them as naked as the vulgar air. That done, dissever your united strengths, and part your mingled colors once again. Turn face to face, and bloody point to point. Then in a moment fortune shall call forth out of one side her happy minion, to whom in favor she shall give the day, and kiss him with the glorious victory. How like you this wild counsel, mighty states? Smacks it not something of the policy?
Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be sounded more than yours? Write them together, yours is as fair a name. Sound them, it doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them, it is as heavy. Conjure with them, Brutus will start a spirit as soon as Caesar. Now, in the names of all the gods at once, upon what meat doth this our Caesar feed, that he is grown so great? Age, thou art shamed. Rome, thou hast lost the breed of noble bloods. When went there by an age? Since the great flood, but it was famed with more than with one man. When could they say till now, that talked of Rome, that her wide walls encompassed but one man? Now is it Rome indeed, and room enough that there is in it but one only man? You and I have heard our fathers say, there was a Brutus once that would have brooked the eternal devil to keep his state in Rome as easily as a king.
Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years? Oh, that he were here to write me down an ass. But masters, remember that I am an ass. Though it be not written down, yet forget not that I am an ass. No, thou villain, thou art full of piety, which shall be proved upon thee by good witness. I am a wise fellow, and which is more, an officer, and which is more, a householder, and which is more, as pretty a piece of flesh as any is in Messina, and one that knows the law too. Go to, and a rich fellow enough. Go to. And one that had had his losses, and one that had had 2 gowns and everything handsome about him. Bring him away. Oh, that I had been writ down an ass.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind? A false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain. I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalst me the way that I was going. And such an instrument I was to use. Ah, mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeons gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. And now o'er the one half-world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder. Alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls his watch. Thus, with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear the very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
No, uncle. I'll none. Not till God make man of some other metal than earth. Would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered with a pierce of valiant dust? To make an account of her life to a clod of wayward marl? Adam's sons are my brethren. And truly, I hold it a sin to match in my kindred. In faith, she's too cursed. Too cursed is more than cursed. I shall lessen God's sending that way. For it is said, God sends a cursed cow short horns. But to a cow too cursed, he sends none. Hey! Oh, just if he send me no husband. For the which blessing I am at him upon my knees every morning and evening. Lord, I could not endure a husband with a beard on his face. I had rather lie in the woolen. He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man. And he that is more than a youth is not for me. And he that is less than a man, I'm not for him. No, uncle. I'll none.
Spite. Oh, Hal. I see. You all are bent to set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so, to vow and swear and superpraise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals and love Hermia. And now, both rivals to mock Helena! A trim exploit! A manly enterprise to conjure tears in a poor maid's eyes with your derision! None of noble sort would so offend a virgin and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport.
Thou art not wholly to belie me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I would to heaven I were. For then, 'tis like I should forget myself. If I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal, for being not mad, but sensible of grief. My reasonable part produces reason how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouds were he. I am not mad. Too well, I feel the different plague of each calamity.
An armor, friends? I pray you let me see it. Oh, thanks, fortune! Yet that after all thy crosses thou givest me something to repair myself. It was mine own, part of my heritage which my dead father did bequeath to me with this strict charge, even as he left his life. Keep it, my Pericles. It hath been a shield twixt me and death, for that it saved me, keep it. And like necessity, the which the gods protect thee from, may it defend thee. It kept where I kept. I so dearly loved it, till the rough seas, that spare not any man, took it in rage, though calmed, have given it again. I thank thee for it. My shipwreck now's no ill, since I have what my father gave me in his will. I beg of you, kind friends, this coat of worth, for it was sometime target to a king. I know it by this mark. In hoc spe vivo. In this hope I live. He so dearly loved me, and for his sake I wish the having of it, and that you'd guide me to your sovereign's court, where with it I may appear a gentleman. And if ever my low fortune's better, I'll pay your bounties. Till then, rest your debtor.